There we go. Now I'm here. Sorry about that. I knew I didn't have my. Let me get my monitor hooked up. Hello, Alan Killian. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. We have very few people in the room today. There we go. Monitor's working. I am hearable. I've been crazy busy with work the last few days. Hello, Logan Sandman. Alan Killian, first in the room, says, been needing some C.001 coded friend just in time. Logan Sandman's here, says hello to everybody. We now have 4 watching. Going to stall just a little bit. I haven't had much YouTube time in the last week or so. Been pretty busy. I had a guy that works with me. Hang on, let me grab my coffee. So I have a dude that works with me. Thank you, Alan, for the 5x5. I have a dude that works with me who about a year ago picked up a DUI and then found out that the DUI that our insurance company audited. Every year around this time of year they do an audit on the staff. They randomly select, and then they pull driving histories, criminal record, that kind of shit. And my boy's got 2 DUIs, so he cannot drive vehicles. So I had to swap him to a spot where he could just charge as cars come in and not have to drive anything. And then I think the middle of the week last week, he let me know that he was relocating to Serbia, which is his home country. His parents have been in the States for probably 20, 25 years, maybe, if that long. And, his dad's a, painter, construction guy. And, he put his nose to the grindstone. He earned a lot of money for himself. He put up, he's a saver. He put up his money, and my guy's parents are heading back to their home country, Serbia. So he, with the DUI and the rest of the shit, he made the decision to head back to Serbia with his parents. And I've known the guy for 14 years now, and he's always talking about home. He's always talking about how he misses his relatives. He's got a pretty big family that he's involved with. And, at least once every 2 years, he's gone back for a month or two. So, he's got some relatives that offered to hook him up with a good job if he wanted to come back. So he's in his middle 30s, and he's going to head back to Eastern Europe. Hopefully he does well for himself. He was a great worker when he was here. Tipped the bottle a little too much. I don't think I ever saw him sober at the end of a work shift. He was the first guy to get his shit wrapped up, and he would go inside. Everybody loves this guy. Bartenders, club owners, everybody loves him. So he walk in the bar, and he got a lot of shots 5 minutes after he's inside. So I hope the drink, that part of his life, he gets under control, and maybe moving away from the hospitality industry, and daily being in the presence of all the free liquor pretty much he could drink is probably a smart move for him to get away from that shit. Logan Sandman says, I imagine having DUIs would be a no-no if you're paid to park cars at a club. Yeah, it does. It does fuck the insurance shit up quite a bit. And the insurance companies are always looking for a reason to raise the rate and get a little better premium money coming in. Scott Amo is with us. Says, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here in Florida for a few days, and it's nice, not really hot. The end of our eclipse is going on right now. Wasn't much where I'm located, North Georgia, close to the Tennessee border right now. It just looked like if you weren't looking up to see that the sun was being blocked, it just looked like a heavy cloud overcast for an hour or two. Kind of a weird feeling when I went outside the first time. Did you see it down there in Florida, Scott Ammo? So I haven't really had a lot of time to spend with the YouTube stuff, and I was kind of happy to take a break from it. I haven't really been listening to anybody, a little bit here and there. Though I was going back to review Irish Demon did a live stream on April Fool's Day. He said he was in Vegas waiting to talk to Chili. Hello, Laura Rader. Laura Rader says, yes. So glad you are live. I can't spend a lot of time today. I do have to get off to work today, and then I got a full day on Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be broadcasting, and I should be back regularly Wednesday and Thursday. The rest of the week's up in the air. I got a lot of shit going on. Laura Rader says, yeah, I just experienced the eclipse here in San Antonio. Cloud cover sucked, but it did get totally black for a few minutes. Cool. I think we're a little too far east. We didn't get the total darkness. So let's start with, there was a Merb mom sighting. A couple of the regular listeners shot emails to me and gave me a little time marker here. So let's take a little listen to this. Not actually a sighting, more an audible confirmation that Merb is either married to a female. You tell me when you hear the voice whether you think this is more of an elderly woman or someone Merb's own age. I actually think it's Merb's wife. I think the whole Merb being homosexually oriented is just bullshit, so he can say words that offend people. Shock value. Deep down inside, Merb does want to be in the drama community. I understand that legal shit is pretty fucking boring, but hey, no one does a 15-minute primer on jurisdiction like Merb does. Logan Sandman says, Laura Rader, real question. Do the street lights come on, or was the light change too quick to trigger the sensors? I don't think they really got much of the eclipse. They definitely didn't get total darkness in California. The path kind of tracked up more just west of the East Coast and more in the edge of the heartland. Laura Rader says, I'm right on the edge of the totality zone, 99% totality. Cool. Laura Rader said, my bad. It was Logan Sandman that asked Laura Rader, real question. Did the street lights come on, or was the light change too quick to trigger the sensors? Laura says, yes, Logan, street light right outside my window did get triggered to come on. So did other outside lights. Cool. It was that dark? Nice. Laura Rader says, it was dark enough here to make the street lights come on. Cool. That's, I don't know if it's a once in a lifetime experience, but you can always travel to a place where you can see it. It, happens relatively regularly and predictably, but to have it happen in your neck of the woods, walk out the front door and see, total darkness in the middle of the afternoon is, it's pretty awesome. Scott Almo says, AFAIK, Merb is married, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he could be bi-curious. Delete Fun says the light in my cell came on. Oh my God. Chili's No, Chili's housed in Arizona, so they were outside the total dark zone. That is a pretty good joke, though. Delete funds. All right, we got 16 in the chat. Everyone else will have to catch up on the replay. Laura Rader says, I felt bad for the thousands of tourists who flooded to Texas to watch. Cloud cover sucked for most of us. Only Fredericksburg had some breaks in the cloud cover. It's North Georgia. It's a pretty cloudless day today, so we're in good shape. I didn't look up at it, and it didn't get dark enough that I'm not interested in going back outside. So let's hear this Merb thing and see what's going on here. See if we can make some sense of this. Make sure I got all my writing up. So this is April 1st, 2024. Chili's appeal bail hearing. Merb is talking, I believe, about the attorney who's representing Chili on the appeal. AFAIK, Scott Amos says, stands for, as far as I know. Cool. Jam and Jet, how you doing? Jam and Jet says, good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon, Jam and Jet. Laura Rader says, can't remember ever seeing Merb's wife, but I've heard her before on his old videos. LOL, and she shoots guns and kills birds too. Logan Sandman says, hey to Jet. So you let me know, is this Mrs. Merb or Merb's mommy? Because he seems a little perturbed that she interrupted him.
24 years.
You say something to me?
I'm live streaming.
Right now he's going, oh, fuck, Coden's going to clip that. Well, we didn't clip it. We just played it out of your stream. So one more time. Merb's wife, Merb's mom.
Admitted to the United States Supreme Court. Well, boy, howdy. Boy, howdy.
Oh, I didn't go back far enough. Where are we at here?
Got Christopher Orm Law Office. Over 25 years of experience. He will fight for your freedom. Nice, clean website. "24 years.
You say something to me?
I'm live streaming.
One more time.
Admitted to the United States Supreme Court. Well, boy, howdy. Boy, howdy.
All right, this is your motion.
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, I've had a chance to watch the video of the trial. I watched Mr. DeCastro.
Did I miss it again, or did I go back too far? What do we got?
Boy, howdy.
24 years.
The video in a disrespectful fashion and refer to the marshal. And consider was convicted if he'd say sorry.
Oh, I gotta listen to what the attorney.
I'm lost. Oh, I'm lost.
Please be seated, come to order.
It should be right here.
You say something to me?
There you go.
You say something to me?
4 years.
You say something to me?
So there you go. Merb's mommy, Merb's wife. Merb's not what Merb says he is. Uh-oh, ruh-roh. I knew Merb was a little bit on the fake side when he, after my struggle session with Dog Detective and Shiz on my my referencing homosexuality as a as aberrant behavior and something that God abhors. You know, I had to go through, I guess, a struggle session to remain friends with Shiz and Dog Detective. And, you know, I did try. I tried to see it from their point of view. I'm just not, I don't know, I'm just not wired up that way. So after that, Merb came around and, you know, he gave me a little bit of a browbeating and he gave me his own lecture and tried to drag me into a struggle section on self-censorship, and then through some other interactions down the road, Merb on his own broadcast, Merb has a category of moderators on his Discord that are titled Pipe Hitting Niggas, which is a reference to Pulp Fiction. But when it came to saying the title on his live broadcast, he self-censored and said pipe hitting enners. So like I get confused because people come around and they try to tell me how I can and can't behave and what I can and can't say. And then I try to adjust my behavior to placate them. And then someone else comes along and browbeats me on self-censorship. And then a week later, self-censors themselves, afraid to say a word. I mean, Merb said all the derogatory gay references while he was claiming to be a gay man. And now we're seeing evidence that the wifey is, everybody in the side chat seems to think it's Merb's wife. So, you know, Merb's married, probably no kids, dick doesn't work, can't get her pregnant, that kind of shit. So, you know, he's a bitter fucking man. It would suck to be that bitter at that age. I mean, for fuck's sake, dude, you look like the fucking Hawaiian Punch mascot from the 1970s, and you know, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Your legal take and your legal analysis is good shit. I listen to it. I like it. But, you know, the reality is you're like everyone else. You wag the finger, you say don't, and then you go ahead and do what you said don't do. So, you know, I hope you and your wife are happy. And I hope someday the Lord blesses you with a child, Merb, so you can grow up and become an adult and know what it's like to be a parent. Maybe you should put it in the right hole. Do you pretend your wife is a man? Inquiring minds want to know. So, you know, I've just been noticing the hypocrisies of all these talking heads on YouTube. I mean, Shiz doesn't like me making vague homosexual references was in her whatever her bingo thing was. But if you go over to Stone Vet, you're gonna hear Stone Vet just fucking smashing gay comments left and right. But it's okay because he chuckles after he says it. So, or he's really high when he says it, or like last night he's drunk as fuck, so whatever. Sad. Gemma Jet says, that's Scott Amo. Great to see you. I've been staying away since being disrespected by a creator. Who disrespected you? Don't avoid the dude that talks shit to you is permanently blocked here. And anyone who behaves that way in the future you can come and say whatever the fuck you want to say to me. I don't care. I'll answer you if it's legit. If it's just stupid shit, if it's funny, I'll laugh. If it's not funny, I'll fucking tell you to be more funny. But if you rudely and uncivilly go after other members in the listening audience, you're going to find yourself fucking unable to return. I'm sorry that happened, Jet. Jamma Jet says, at Laura Rader, great to see you. Jamma Jet, I don't think we've done anything since that broadcast. Maybe one after that. Scott Amo says, wifey. Laura Rader says, I agree, Alan. Hello, Jet. Laura Rader says, sounds like his wife to me, coded. Jamma Jet says, at Alan, great to see you. Welsh News Now is with us. She is saying, how can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? I believe the real lyric is if you don't beat your meat, and the pudding not being a after dinner dessert. Jam and Jet says, at Welsh News Now, 8596, great to see you. Laura Rader said, sounded like his wife to me, asking if he wanted something to eat. No, she said, did you say something to me? I'll do a Biff Thunder muffin and isolate that, amp up the sound, and we can all have another chuckle about it next time I broadcast. Apparently, when I did my troll thing with my mom, which I am owning and I did own, it was a troll thing. It backfired, but in the end, it worked out. In the long run, it worked out the way the project wanted it to work. My credibility was dinged. I looked like a douche, and then the people who were supposedly my friends started turning on me because they saw weakness. So, and that was the whole exposure of the Shiz Dearmid thing. And wow, there was I did catch a piece. Actually, I think it's the piece we're going to look at today. There were some side comments that Dearmid made in Shiz's side chat regarding Blue Bacon paying a young guy to fuck him. I mean, nobody gave a shit about that, right? So there's a list of people you can say things about, and there's a list of people you can't say things about. Nobody sent me the list. I didn't get the fucking memo, so don't fault me in the future. I'm going to talk about all y'all. Alan Killian says, good afternoon, Jam and Jet and Laura Rader. Jam and Jet says, I have to check on my son. He is sounding loud. Cool. We'll wait for you. Laura Rader said, family first, Jet. Absolutely. Scott Amo says, my bet is that she was outside or something and didn't know Merb had gone live. That's why she asked if he was talking to her. Correct. Laura Rader says, yes, Scott Amo, LOL. That has happened to me too. I walk into the house, hear my son talking, and walking into his room to find out he's gaming with friends. When I lived a huge chunk of my life without cell phones. And when cell phones first came around, especially if someone had like a fucking earbud in and they were just walking and talking, like I would respond to them as though they were talking to me because I didn't want to be fucking rude to people. And then they're like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, all right, sorry, man. But it took a while for me to get fucking acclimated to that. Laura Rader said, okay, I missed whatever the last Merb issue is. There's no Merb issue. I just thought it was funny that on April Fools of all days, Merb's claims to be homosexual were fucking somewhat refuted by the presence of his wife, which I thought at the time could possibly have been his mommy because the voice sounds older to me, but everybody else in the chat seems to think it's Merby's mom. Welsh News Now, 8596 says, Merb has seen my testicles. Do you have Merb and Shuggy confused? Shuggy is another one. The fuck? Shuggy gets carte blanche over at Stoned Vat, who relentlessly hammered K-Far for not denouncing Stolen Valor Wrangler, but Shuggy is kosher cool while he plays K-Far to Dan's fucking my best friend got shot in the head and his brains were blown all over my uniform. That fucking horseshit. Look, Dan was never in the fucking military. Dan was never in the middle. That motherfucker can't hardly read. He can't fucking read. How? There's no way he was an engineer, went to college, degreed engineer. He was a fucking underdeck oil change guy. Everything else about Dan is fucking bullshit and lies. They're doing a begathon grift over at the Welsh News Network currently to raise money from their listeners, because Rich Moneybags Dan can't, do anything with his own money. So our Nevada Judges is auctioning off sponsorship for the next live Chile court appearance, and then the feed is going to dump directly into the high bidders live stream. So Dan's fleecing his flock to get bid money for that. I thought Dan was this fucking rich guy with a Learjet, a sailboat, lives in a giant mansion. But Dan is being accused by ex-employees of them not getting the full pay. He's doing these charity grifts month over month and never fucking showing any receipts for anything. His last dog shelter thing, he's not going to show receipts because Coded will harass the dog facility. I love dogs, man. I fucking love dogs. Why would I do that if it was legit? You don't want anyone double checking you, Dan, because you're full of shit. So on the beg for bid money, on the last day, Dan had a problem with Stream Elements, so nobody could see what people were donating. That's everything that got donated yesterday that Dan didn't announce, because he really didn't announce much. That's what Dan's going to peel off and put in his fucking pocket. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost the fucking bid and pocketed all the fucking money. So Alan Killian says, those same personal contradictory positions turned me away from Shiz. Don't sexualize her, but seems to solicit the shit. Not only does she solicit the shit, and I'm not saying this to bust her balls, it's just my observation. I see the same thing you see. She actually sexualizes other people. I mean, she called Miss Mandy saggy tits the other day. So, and then she was a month and a half ago when we were going through our fucking Discord shit, trying to get things squared down with Irish Demon, who still to this day has never shown any of the complete transparency he was going to show. So we're still waiting on that. Shiz said she was going to hit someone in the face with her dick. She was going to smack someone in the face with her dick. That's sexualizing yourself, but then you bitch when other people do it. These people don't think about what they say before they say it, and they definitely give no consideration to how their statements are a lot of times directly applicable to them while they're wagging the finger, doing the browbeat. Merb is an excellent point of that. He came around, gave me a lecture on self-censorship, and then a week later, he wouldn't say the word niggas when he has a category on his Discord server for moderators that's called pipe hitting niggas. Even Merb's afraid of fucking words. Even Merb is afraid of words, and there are words that Merb will not speak. Merb won't say nigga with the A and not the hard R. I work in that community. I traffic with urban, with major metropolitan city urban inhabitants. What are you so fucking afraid of, Merb? I hear that word every goddamn day. Jamin Jet says, at Laura Rader, I had to change a diaper for my 23-year-old. You are a good father, my man. Laura Rader said, Jam and Jet, that's exactly why the nasty Joan Jet troll was permanently blocked here. People have no boundaries on their hate. Glad you're back. I'm glad you're back too, dude. Don't let anyone dissuade you from showing up here because of their behavior. Shit like that will be quashed immediately. Welsh News Now says Blue Bacon has a nice tuba. Jeff, that's all, says, hey, all listening at work. How we doing, Jeff? Laura Rader says, cocked face laughing, like Coded would care about a list. Tina Slay was on that list, too. Laura Rader says, hey to Jeff. Jammin' Jet says, at Laura Rader, I was ignored on a different channel and then told to get over my feelings. Everyone is allowed to have their own feelings. I agree with that 100%. Bro, I would be fucking... If the comments that were made to you were made to me, I would be pissed. I would be pissed. That was completely unfucking called for. And to demean a parent who is dedicated to taking care of their child who has handicap and difficulties that prohibit him from, living a normal life. What fucking idiot makes fun of shit like that? Jesus Christ. But if you point out, hey, Tina Slay said a year and a half ago, that DEA agent shot her son full of fucking methamphetamine after they shot him with bullets and killed him dead. If you question that, you're a fucking bad person. I don't get it. And I'm probably never going to get it because it's irrational behavior and it doesn't fucking make any sense. Gem and Jet says, Jeff, that's all. Good afternoon. Laura Rader says, damn, that's rude, Jet. Sorry you were treated like that. I am too, bro. You're welcome here any fucking time. Gem and Jet says, at Laura Rader, I wish I had Joan Jet's money. I wouldn't want to be the block for anyone. Don't worry about it. Laura Rader says, I wish I had the real Joan Jet's money too, LOL. And you have never been the block for anyone. That was Coded. That was absolutely my choice, bro. And if the same thing had been said to anyone else in the chat, that dude would have been fucking blocked. It has to do with the other person's behavior. That's what it's about. I'm not putting up with that shit here. Delete Laws is an idiot, says, see, you still have a raging hard-on for Dan. You can see me right now? Jim and Jet says, in the Navy, an engineer can be a wrench turner. I was in the engineer department, and I was a certified welder. Correct. You don't go to college to become a certified welder. Miss Mandy Reacts says, hey, everyone, Dan lied about attending Dartmouth College. That's why he couldn't correctly identify buildings on the campus. I know my college campus. My college campus has changed quite a bit, and it's expanded and grown. I know my college campus still, even with the changes. Gemma Jet says, at Miss Mandy Reacts, good afternoon. Laura Rader, the super wealthy BS was just to launch Dan's channel via super chats for attention on bigger channels. Absolutely. And he was a lying sack of shit that promised to give money on regular occasions and never came through. And for a year now, he's been running a monthly fucking grift that he never shows receipts for. Black is in on it. Jimbo Felch is in on it. Shuggy's in on it. Shuggy's a little weaselly worm fucking piece of shit. And if other people don't like me because I know the truth about Shuggy, he is a weaselly worm, a liar, and a piece of shit. Shuggy, as much as Dan, tells other people's stories as though they were his own. And Dan, that's why Shuggy can't out Dan for stolen valor, because Dan will out Shuggy on Shuggy's bullshit. Shuggy claimed, Dan, when we were going over the financial stuff, $dumb, Shuggy claimed to work, or Dan claimed that Shuggy worked in the currency market. And then Shuggy was throwing around terms that were for the currency market, but had nothing to do with a money market fund that I was talking about, thus showing Shuggy's ignorance. The other night, someone sent me a time marker on it. I haven't had a chance to listen to the whole broadcast. It was last night or the night before. Shuggy actually said that his dad worked in the currency market, in the gilt market. So that's government debt. Shuggy's full of shit. And then I was talking about when Shuggy lived in Tennessee when he claimed to work for Dell, and then Shuggy said that's a lie. He didn't, and he wanted receipts and show proof. And then again, someone sent me a time marker the other night. He was talking about when he lived in Tennessee. I mean, these fucking people are just assholes. If you, Shuggy, know that something I'm saying about you is true, don't sit there and go, prove it, give a receipt. You know it's fucking true. Dipshit, kid-touching motherfucker. Miss Mandy reacts, says, hello, hun. Good to see you, Jam and Jet. Laura Rader says, delete laws is an idiot. Weird, then, that I've never seen Coded put fake cum all over Dan's face like others do to Coded. That's actually kind of humorous that they would sink to such a low level. I've seen Dan do it to Chili. More than likely, Hank made the thumbnail. So, when it came to those pictures, I would give Hank credit for that. He's that kind of fucking douchebag. And Hank really hates it that, I talk about the fact that he can't get a fucking full sentence out of his goddamn head. And Hank's another one that sits there and fucking lies for Dan. Alan Killian says, Joan can keep her money. I want her mid-50s Les Paul Jr. Joan can keep her money. If I wasn't married, I would probably be trying to date her. Although I don't think she's heterosexual. I'm not sure. Laura Rader says, amen, Alan. Miss Mandy reacts as the whole reason Shiz started coming after me in the first place is because I called the video she did on Fraud at Reaper a hit piece when she declared war. I think Reaper deserved what, Shiz put out on her. It definitely was a hit piece. I mean, the piece hit. It hit. It was a truth bomb. It told the truth about her. Miss Mandy, I think honestly what Shiz's hang up with you is that you kind of jested about her autism, and that's something she's never going to get over. Jam and Jet says, I bought my Sona Les Paul 2016. Fuck nice. You guys have some fucking nice guitars. Where's Johnny Switchblade? There's Johnny Switchblade. Says, I'd like Lita's Hammer. I think it was number 7. Lita Ford? We should play some Lita Ford. Good call, bro. Welsh News Now, 8596. The biggest and the best news on the internet. That's all a joke, dude. That's all a joke. That's not true. They're just people getting together for laughs and giggles. Of course, they get laughs and giggles by ripping off other YouTube creators' content. They never have any of their own content, and just, mocking people at low points in their life. Dan's an evil fucking prick. I mean, he's watered down fucking pablum style evil. Dan would, as far as if you had to relate evil to food, like Dan's not a fucking steakhouse steak. Dan's more like fucking cheese grits. That's the kind of evil Dan is, cheese grits. He's just a regular run-of-the-mill, everyday, disobedient, obstinate, thinks he knows more than everybody, don't know shit about shit. Speaking about not knowing shit about shit, let's get into this little short piece from the little gemstone I found on Danny Boy. It's from earlier in the year. 122, I believe, is the date, January the 22nd. Aptly named Dum de Dum Dum, the live stream. And man, it shows how dumb the Welsh News Network is. So let me bring this up here. 1 month, 1 month, 2 months. Happy hump day. Do. Looking, there we go. There it is. Sweet. Close to queue. Oh, wow. I just heard something I didn't hear when I perused this before. All right, let me get the share up here on this. This is the Snooze Network 2 months ago on January 21, 2024. 1,000 views. Wow. 11,300 subscribers. Danny had some money in his pocket. He was able to buy views there. Let's have a little listen to Dildan. It's Dildan Spank Shuggy iconed up with his bought challenge coin from eBay. Because Stone Vet, pay attention to me, Stone Vet. I'm Shuggy. I want your balls in my mouth, Stone Vet. I love the way you talk about gay shit every day. Shuggy's so desperate to be recognized, it's sad. What do you want, Stone Vet to be your beard, Shuggy, while you play K-Far to Dan? It seems kind of fucking weird, man. But you do you little boy toucher.
Not made any secret of the fact of I disagreed with what Limey was doing because he was misleading people.
I like Merb too.
Because they didn't know how the UK system works as opposed to the US system.
Huh.
And I pointed that out. Huh? I did. And that was the last public comment up until today I have made about Limey. That's it. ID wants to run a GoFundMe for Limey. Have at it.
Hold on a second here. Jam and Jet says that coded friend.001. I was a social worker in the penal system and a detox in New York. And what I heard, besides being threatened to be taken out, unreal what people say in pain. Yeah, and you know, if you look around at all these people, they're a good number of these YouTube creators are they are hurt people. They are hurt people. And that's why when Miss Mandy was ganged up on and it was looking like people were really trying to run her out of town, how does that help? How does that help? That's the question I ask myself. How is this going to help? All right, so if Miss Mandy, because I almost jumped on the bandwagon and helped the drummer out. I almost did because I didn't really care much for Miss Mandy. So what good would it do if we ganged up and ran Miss Mandy off the YouTube platform? What good would that do? Would it change Miss Mandy's behavior? Probably not. And then the shitty things that people do ganging up on a single individual, that those people would become emboldened in that behavior. And they're already doing too much of it. Like they're not examining things with an eye on a way to correct and alter behavior for the good. So that was one of the reasons why, and that's the reason why Miss Mandy will, until she repeats her old behaviors, until I see it, that's why she will be cut slack in our side chat, and I won't be really tolerant of people going after her. Because I think Miss Mandy has a gift given from God. I think she has an ability to attract people. She did a lot of production work for other YouTube creators. Sub counts seemed to rise when Miss Mandy got involved with shit. So, you know, Miss Mandy, you have a talent. You have a talent that you could be doing far better things with than what you've done in the past. And I hope that my intuition that you given the opportunity to turn and do work that's more in the vein of moral goodness, I don't think I'll be disappointed in the long run. So good luck to you. Yeah, hurt, people in pain, they do crazy shit. And I think a lot of these YouTube creators are people who in civil society, in the real world, are, they're hurt. They're slightly outcast or totally outcast. I mean, you see it with Chile. What good has all the fucking Chile hate done for anybody over the past year? What good has it done? Put a little money in the pocket of despicable people. Hey, Dan, on your doggo thing here, I'll give everyone something to fucking hate me about now. On your fucking doggo thing, that you're not donating any of that money to dog shelters, Stan. You're putting that in your fucking pocket. Dan last night was actually talking about getting another dog. Why don't you take one of the ones from the fucking shelter, dipshit? Do you see how quickly these fucking people expose that they're bullshit? Dan, you want to solve the problem with the dogs? We have the solution for the problem in the Philippines. It was difficult for me to get on board with in the beginning. The Philippines is an island. It's a chain of islands. It's an archipelago. Something like a dog that's not native to the ecosystem can wreak real havoc in the ecosystem. So dogs that wind up going stray or, revert to their feral nature because, where I'm at, it's a farming community. There are a lot of dogs running around. A bad dog, a problem dog, a dog that the owner isn't taking proper care of and becomes dangerous to people in their daily commute. Those dogs aren't around very long. There's no dog catcher. There's no humane society. There's none of that. There is a hungry fucking person. And that dog will wind up in the fucking stew pot. So Dan, if you want to solve the fucking problem, you have homeless. The Wales had a 25% increase in its homeless population last year to this year. Eat the fucking dogs, Dan. Eat the fucking dogs. That's it. Oh my God. Meat's meat, bro. You got hungry people and you're begging Americans to give money to take care of Welsh dogs when you have people to feed. Eat the fucking dogs, Dan, and get your fucking problem right. Instead of you using the dog shelter as a cloak to cover your grifting. Who's worse, Dan? Me for saying eat the dogs, or you for saying the money you donate is going to dogs, but I'm not ever going to prove it goes to dogs? And we all know you fucking steal that money, Dan. Everybody fucking knows it, except your dumb ass listeners. Miss Mandy reacts, says, at Laura Rader, let them come. I'm damn good at what I do. I finished my mental health classes this week and have made a lot of changes. Yeah, Mandy, give yourself time to let good habits become entrenched before you start engaging people, lest you slip back into your old ways. Because what they want to do is they want to constantly attack you and break you so that you revert back to the old way you did things. Do not let them do that to you. They'll always try to. Laura Rader says, you go, Miss Mandy. GMK says, I still like Merb. I still like Merb too. You can like a person just because you don't have to hate a person just because they have flaws. We all have flaws. We all have flaws. I'm just pointing it out because, Merb came and, called me a hypocrite, told me I was self-censoring the rest of the shit. I just want to show that, Merb ain't fucking perfect either. Merb's legal analysis, fantastic. Merb's desire to immerse himself in drama, he's not really good at it. Delete Laws is an idiot, says Laura Rader. Have you been checked since you got with that guy the other night? He had bugs. What the fuck? Oh my God, is this Chili decon artist? Is this con artist? Yo, decon. Fucking weasel. Welsh News Now, I told you he had more than fucking 2 accounts, dude. Welsh News Now, 8596 says, I think Shiz still wants me, I could tell. Hello, baby. Hello, baby says, I'm here. All right, let's get into this shit.
Is Irish Demon being completely honest about the money and where it's going and what it's for? Probably. Knowing him, I'm pretty much sure it is. So, okay.
I mean, that's
So while Shiz and Demon are doing a live attacking Dan and Hank will during this broadcast, they're trying to butter up Demon, so they're really trying to say every good thing they can about him. You don't know, Dan, just like nobody knows what you do with the money. You don't know what Irish Demon does with the money. I donated $580 to Cork Penny Dinners. I put the receipts up. How hard was it to fucking do that? It's not hard at all. This week, my wife is picking up the rice today. Last week, I had to send my wife money for my son's end of school year class field trip. And I sent an additional right around $400, maybe a shake less. I bought 75 5-kilo bags of rice. I had a little logistical snafu before. I wanted to have it ready to go to hand it out on Good Friday and Saturday before Easter Sunday to make sure there was, extra on the table in the poorer households in my community in the Philippines. But, things didn't work out timing wise right. So my son has today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off from school. So today's Tuesday in the Philippines. Yesterday, my wife picked up 75-kilo bags of rice, 75 5-kilo bags, which was the 5 kilos is just over 10 pounds. It cost me, I think, right around $400, out of pocket. And I've talked about, doing this in the past. I wanted to do it, up front, just me, so everybody can see what they'll get for receipts. My wife will. Do they fly boarding in the Philippines? I don't know what that means. Off subject, KDD. Do they fly boarding in the Philippines? Can you phrase? I don't know what fly boarding means. So I bought about $400 worth of rice, 75 5-kilo bags. The distribution of that will begin today. Today is the households that have widows and the households that have orphans in them will come to the house first. They'll get a bag per household. And then the remainder, I think we have about 20 identified widows and houses with orphans in them. My wife's cousin's older brother died, was married. He passed away, some weird illness. They have a child. The mother left and went home to her family. She was from a different region of the Philippines and left a child behind. So as far as I'm concerned, that's orphan status. So my wife's cousin her uncle has custody of the child. So we make sure he has clothing for school, school supplies, and there's food for him to eat because his parents are no longer with him, which is sad. It's sad that his own mother abandoned him, but he's a good kid. He's bright. He's very shy, super quiet. My son and him, when they get the chance to, they do spend a decent amount of time playing with each other. And, because my son's an only child, if we're going to the beach, we'll stop by their house and grab him and take him along to the beach with us. So he gets a day at the beach and, he gets to experience some of the nicer things in life. And my son, has a playmate who's also a relative of his, and they have a good time together. They enjoy each other's company. All right, let's get back on this Chile thing. So we will begin to distribute rice today. We should have it wrapped up by Wednesday, and then I'll put all the receipts together, and I'll literally show how easy it is to do this. Queen Blaze 683 says, I'm aging like a fine wine in a basement, untouched, coded.
I triggered that we haven't mentioned Limey and prayers for Limey in the side chat for the last 3 nights. You can't tell people who to pray for and who to think about. They're pissed about that, and they're convinced you stop the benefits, which is again impossible.
Yeah. I have no idea what's going on there.
But I mean, Irish is just completely triggered.
I have no idea what's going on there or why.
Or is people just taking a comment made by Irish Demon out of
No, he's live on
making him
his
out.
stream.
I believe he was actually on the stream.
Okay, and is he being fed false information and
I
getting
believe-
Right there, trying to dump all the blame on Shiz and Dog Tactic. Limey's Demon's just getting fed false information. Well, it's Demon's responsibility to verify the information he gets. Not all the information you get from everyone is always true. Even the people who claim to have receipts and double check and are always telling you to do more research, they make statements about having proof they don't fucking have.
riled up
So?
over it.
I'm a bit surprised that Irish didn't come and talk to me.
Why? Because you've been blackmailing him? Isn't that what Demon said? We'll get into it which is coming, because Demon finally came back to YouTube. So, if he's ready to broadcast again, I'm ready to talk about this situation again. He is leaning on the he's in a dark place thing, but he did that shit back in December too. I mean, it's kind of fucking regular with him. It's the whole boy who cried wolf thing, Demon. If you keep crying the cry, eventually the wolf comes and nobody responds because you cried too much.
Yeah, kind of funny how they wait until during your live stream if they want you to actually come and respond.
Here's what I want to know, because somebody's claiming your council house is opening up soon. Can I get in on that?
What?
Apparently,
You
your
might-
council house is going to be coming open soon. What I want to know is, can I move in there? Can I get in on that?
Okay.
Dope Phil just making shit up as he goes. Dope Phil is a chronic fucking speeder in his vehicle. Hearing him talk about other people and how they can harm people is just fucking insane. He brags about how he speeds regularly, gets pulled over, and is able to talk himself out of it. Katie D says, hey, at Laura Rader, I asked why they banned you, but got no reaction. Laura Rader got banned? Do tell, Katie D. We want details. Dish the dirt, sunshine. GMK, I still like Merb, says, how does Coded know how I sound and think about SV? You? Is GMK Merb? What do you mean you? How does Coded know how I sound and think about SV? I don't know. How do I know that? Did I make a statement about you knowing something about SV or how you think about him? I don't think I did. Now I'll have to listen to the replay. Katie D says, hi at Jam and Jet. Good to see you.
I have no idea. Your
No,
world.
Johnny Switch says, Josh did mention Shuggy's Welsh buddy late last night. Yeah, I heard he was equating me with Frauditer Wrangler. I guess Wrangler got in an argument with his mom, and then Stone Vat was saying I never argued with my mom. My mom fucking bitched at me because I was in the room she wanted to clean when she got back to my house, and I said, "Mom!" I did a growl. I didn't. Everybody's saying I shouted at my mother. I argued at my mother. It was a fucking troll that my mother didn't really want to participate in when we tried to do a scripted thing. So I forced her into it, caught her by surprise that she was obviously aggravated with me. I own it. It was, in the short term, it was a shitty troll. It backfired on me. It's the only troll I've ever done because I wanted Welsh News Network to pick it up and run with it, but Merb did. And because Merb did, Welsh wouldn't touch it. But then as time went by, Welsh started using it. So it kind of, there was a delayed reaction data collection, but the data was collected. There was a reaction. Jam and Jet says at GMK, still like Merb, great to see you. Queen Blaze says, who's awesome? Not you, Coded. You're a cunt. Okay, I have male genitalia. And you know, for a smaller size guy, I'm only 5'8". I got a pretty good package, man. That's why I don't do the crotch grab. I don't want to scare the women away. Laura Rader says, do tell Johnny Switchblade. LOL, I was sleeping. Now I got to listen to that one. Hello Baby says, that's about 4 end of the worlds I have lived through, but next come the locusts. I'm not ready to mock, but I'm happier. Nice. It is. We've been through a few. I think the next big one coming up, like the Y2K thing in year 2000, the Mayan calendar. We have lived through a lot of fucking end of the world predictions. I think the next big one is Newton predicted that the world would end in 2038. And I believe his work is based on some biblical stuff, but you know, God clearly said, no man knows the day or the hour. Be prepared. This is when Jesus returns. It will be like a thief in the night when nobody expects it. Make sure you're doing right. Hello Baby says they weren't trying to help. They want a scapegoat for clicks and views. Well, that's the way YouTube works. Welsh News Now says Chili can fit 17 challenge coins in his prison wallet. That's why it's called a challenge coin. I heard Shuggy can get 18 up there. But he moves slow when it comes to getting the door open. Shuggy's a fucking doorman at a mid-tier, low-rate hotel. The other day, he said he was in here, you know, telling me when they did the fucking storm in the side chat, Shuggy was here, you know, show receipts, prove it, prove I worked it. I lived in Tennessee. Prove I worked for Dell. It's your words are the proof, Shug. It's all shit that you said. Then in the side chat here, you were claiming to be retired, and then Dan a day later says Shuggy can't be involved in the fucking Kosh Play donation scheme because Shuggy joins us from work. Are you retired or are you working there, Shugster Shugman? Because you are full of shit, Shuggy. You haven't done the shit you said you've done. Johnny Switchblade says, I like an underdog. Crave a good redemption story. Yes, yes. I agree with that 100%. Scroll. Let's get a little...
It's burning down. Your world's burning down. Repent.
Wait, what am I repenting for?
I don't know.
To be determined.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Who the fuck knows?
I have no idea what's going on, and frankly, I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
Dan's so disinterested
But,
that he
you know.
stopped earlier in this broadcast. Dead air,
Okay.
dead air, dead air, dead air.
We're going to prepare for
he
China
stopped earlier
in
in
case
this
China is
broadcast
going to
to
drop down
show,
1 million Chinamen here
his
and try to
Discord
attack
chat
the
with
United States of
Lyman.
America. Each and every
What?
block in America should form
Okay.
a militia so
Wait,
that
wait,
you're
wait,
ready.
wait, wait a minute.
What?
Somebody
He's
just
mentioned
watched.
that. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think Chile just watched the new the recreation Red Dawn.
Oh, is that the Chinese?
Well, it was actually the North Koreans, I think.
Wait,
Okay.
China's invading America?
Here's what we want to hear.
He's a couple of times. Like I was kind of confused where that comes from, but now that you mentioned that, Hank, that makes complete sense.
Hank said something and things made complete
I have a
sense.
question.
That's weird.
Sure.
Why is China invading America?
Reasons?
Okay, so Chile didn't say, this is how this works at the Welsh News Network. Chile was justifying the forming of neighborhood militias, not by saying the U.S. government to defend yourself against the U.S. government, but to be ready, a prepared citizenry in case of a foreign attack. Chile used China as an example. And now they're moving that. Chile said if China attacks. Now Dan shifts the goalpost by saying why is China attacking, as if Chile had said China is attacking America. And then they go through this whole fucking weird I don't know, snowball rolling and packing in of subtle step left lies until they're off the fucking mark of what Chile was talking about, and then they go into a an attack on not what Chile actually said, but what they want him to have said. So let's get with this.
But they kind of own most of your debt.
China owns most of the U.S. debt. No, they do not. GMK, I still like Merb says, at Delete Laws is an idiot. Please share with us then who you are. Are you who I am or who Chile is? And the mother stuff is super mundane. Seek better material. Who are you talking to? Subject, object, verb, complete sentences. They help the communication process. So where we're at with Dan now is Dan is saying that the Chinese own most of the U.S. debt, and Dan has altered Chile's statement of preparedness to, cool, I got current numbers. Altering Chile's statement of preparedness to, Dan has altered that to China is actually attacking.
If China wanted to fuck America, they could just call in that debt.
If China wanted to fuck America, China is, Dan's saying China owns the majority of the U.S. debt. This is like the U.S. is the most corrupt government in the world. When Dan talks about America and American things, Dan rarely knows what the fuck he is talking about. China does not own the majority of U.S. debt. U.S. debt, government debt, is 70% owned by U.S. citizens. Retirement funds, pension funds, banking institutions. 70% of U.S. debt is purchased, held, and owned by U.S. citizens. The top two foreign debt holders currently, as of 2023, last year Japan was the largest foreign holder of U.S. debt. Last year it was Japan. Let me get this out of there. This year China has outpaced Japan. This is from USA Facts, usafacts.org. Nearly half of all U.S. foreign-owned debt comes from 5 countries. So of the 30% that's outstanding, 70% of U.S. government debt is held by U.S. citizens. 30%, half of that 30% is held by 5 different foreign countries. The number 1 country is China with 1.54 billion. You can see that graphic when it flips up. 1.54 trillion, excuse me. Japan holds 1.40 trillion. So, you know, they're pretty fucking close. 1.4, 1.5. China is the largest holder of the 30% of U.S. debt that is in foreign countries. 70% of all U.S. debt is owned by U.S. citizens. So Dan's completely fucking wrong. So 1.4 trillion Japan, 1.54 trillion China. The United Kingdom in number 3 with 653 billion. Number 4 is Belgium, 323 billion. Luxembourg, 311 billion. So this 1.54 trillion that China holds represents 5% of the U.S. debt outstanding. So Dan's statement is that China owns the majority of U.S. debt. Dan is a buffoon. 5% of anything is not a majority. Because if you have 5%, there's 95% of it out there. How is a 5% holding a majority? Dan is a dumb motherfucker who's not even capable to just run a Google search. I've heard Dan say this a couple of times now, that China holds the majority of U.S. foreign debt and that China could shut down, ruin the U.S. economy. We're going to take a look at that. Dan is going to once again prove that he doesn't know shit about finance. Dan is not a money man. He's not wealthy. Dan doesn't know shit about investing, investments, or how the investment markets work. Dan doesn't even know what type of U.S. government debt China holds. Because in a second here, he's going to act as if the U.S. is issuing bearer bonds to China. The U.S. hasn't issued bearer bonds. The U.S. government hasn't issued bearer bonds because they're difficult to track. They're unregistered. It's called a bearer bond because the bearer of the bond need only show up at the bank. You don't have to show any identification, nothing. You surrender either the bond for full payment or you surrender a coupon from the bond torn off to collect interest payments. There's no tracking, no name, and it was being used by cartels to launder money. So in 2010, the U.S. government made it legal for all banks and corporate entities, they don't have to honor U.S. bearer bonds. If anyone wants to redeem U.S. bearer bonds and a bank or a corporate entity doesn't want to honor the bearer bond, then the individual has to go directly to the U.S. government. So, or to the Treasury Department, the issuer of the bonds. Dan just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He talks so much fucking nonsense all the time. No one, and Shuggy was supposed to have worked on the British debt market, so Shuggy should know about this, but Shuggy doesn't. Shuggy either doesn't know anything, he's just a lying sack of shit, or Shuggy's more than happy to sit there while Dan tells lies. Shuggy sticks one thumb up his ass and one thumb in his mouth and sucks away and wiggles until Dan's done lying. Shuggy never calls Dan out. Never. And if you're paying attention lately, if anybody is actually watching the Snooze Network, because no one really is, they ended their broadcast last night with 200 listeners. 200 live listeners, 11,300 subs, and he only has 2,000 live listeners, or 200 live listeners. And then within 4 hours of the broadcast ending, the listener number had tripled while the like number never went up. You can see it here in this piece. This is a month ago, or 2 months ago, January 21, 2024. Dan has 11,300 subscribers. There's 1,082 total views. There's only 85 likes. It's kind of a low number. That would indicate someone's buying views. Because your views, Dan, after your broadcast ends, you have 90% of your likes. And then your view numbers literally triple over the next 5-6 hours, and your likes don't go up at all. Got to buy the likes, Dan, if you're going to buy the views. Otherwise, it looks like hanky shit is going on. Katie D, it's just a matter of time before WNN will turn against Irish Demon and Shiz. I think Shuggy's, doing extra work on the ball sack to keep Dan from blowing up Shuggy's little spot on the Stoned Vet program. How come Stoned Vet is demanding Wrangler show proof of his military service, but Shuggy's not showing any proof? Why is there no demand for Shuggy to show some validation that he was in the military, like was required of Wrangler? And why is Shuggy getting a pass for playing KFAR to Dan's Stolen Valor, and no one's asking Dan to show any proof that he was in the military? So why are Shuggy and Dan getting a pass on prove you were in the military? You're the ones that Shuggy claimed he was in the military. Nobody forced him to do that. Dan not only claimed he was in the military, but then went on to tell wildly unbelievable stories about being in the military. And everybody wants Wrangler to show proof, but nobody expects Shuggy or Dan to show proof. Seems a little fucking weird. I don't know. Maybe if I buy Stoned Vet a challenge coin and stick a lighter up my ass for a week and send it to him, maybe he'll stop associating me with Frauditor Wrangler, when Shuggy is way more like Frauditor Wrangler than I am. It's crazy, bro. Crazy. And it's kind of a weird way to return to me the support. And when you stumbled, Stoned Vet, when you stumbled 2 times, I supported you all the way through it. So it's kind of weird, the payback that's coming back to me. For the sake of what? Some Scottish fucking homo who likes Dan's balls in his mouth? He gets a pass on proving he was in the fucking military? Shuggy gets a pass, Dan gets a pass, you harass Wrangler. Doesn't make fucking sense, bro. The standards are either universally applied or it's favoritism. You're showing favoritism. Laura Rader said, agreed, GMK. These trolls need to up their game a bit, but maybe my expectations are just too damn high. Scott Amos says, I don't care for using the word Irish as a solo name reference for Irish Demon. It sounds odd to me. I prefer using demon. You prefer to use demon because he is a demon. He's godless and he's a fucking liar and he's a petty fucking thief. Who stole? Who stole in Jesus's ministry? Judas. He held the money purse. Judas was the one who was pinching off Judas loved the money more than God. Why do you think demon keeps dipping into dark places? all of Demon's woes are about fucking money. 90%. The other 10% are about the fat chicks he's banging, and if they're going to figure out that he's banging an even fatter chick on the side. Laura Rader says, P.S. Dust Bowl, Poussey, wife, GMK. What the fuck is going on with that? Elric Melonbone says it was a joke about Shuggy. Just ignore me. What did you say about Shuggy? What did you say about Shuggy? Now I'm scrolling back to find it. Scrolling, back some, scroll. I can't find it. I'm giving up. That was easy enough. Laura, where did you get banned from? You got banned from a chat, KDD was saying? KDD says, oh my God, WNN uses the thing with your mother all the time. Of course they do, dude. That's what it was for. That's what it was for. It was to show me in a weak light bleeding to see if the sharks would come around. Miss Mandy reacts, says, oh my God, Coded, you'll probably hit 1K on this stream. I'm so happy for you. I really don't care how many subs I have. And if anyone's artificially inflating my subs, please stop. If you were doing it out of the kindness of your heart, I appreciate it, but I'd rather my numbers were real. If you're doing it to fuck me over, No, I only have 996 subs. I've been stuck there for a couple days. Hold on there. Queen Blaze 683 says, I'm not a gynecologist, but I know a cunt when I see one, cough, Coded. You can call me a cunt all you want. It doesn't fucking bother me. I'm telling you, though, I have a big fucking package. You know, who was it? Chili the con artist was telling me that the picture I put up of me wasn't me, even though you can clearly see my wife and my 7-year-old son and me in the picture. And then that picture of me was a picture from 20 years ago. Just the shit that you guys make up to justify your fucking stupidities is amazing. I know you're not a gynecologist, Queen Blaze. You're probably the person who operates the fry basket at McDonald's. Like, I don't see you really doing much more than that with your life. Laura Rader says, great here. Thanks. Unlocked. I enjoyed the eclipse today. All right, let's get a little. Eric Melnabone? I'm probably saying your name all wrong. Sorry about that.
But they kind of own most of your debt.
China owns most of our debt. When did 5% become most of something? Dipshit. Dan is motherfucking dumb. Laura Rader says, oh, I think I'm still blocked by Dan at WNN. He doesn't like my comments that raise intelligent questions. LOL, Coded. Yeah, exactly. He hates that shit. He doesn't like shit like this either. Dan says China owns the majority of the U.S. debt. I just showed you the graphic. They own 5% of it. The majority of the U.S. debt is held by U.S. citizens, 70%. That's how Dan does not know what the fuck he's talking about. Dan is as much a sovereign citizen as Chile is, in that he's influenced by sovereign citizen teachings, written materials. The whole, when Dan said a year ago that the U.S. government was the most corrupt government in the world, I Googled. The only thing I could find that said that was one sovereign citizen fucking kook out. Dan is a fucking dumb motherfucker. Logan Sandman said the fry basket operator at McDonald's makes $20 an hour in California. That's not the insult it used to be. My insult was not talking about the money a person earns, but the intellectual capacity they have in their work environment. Time to drop the fries. The buzzer went off. Lift the fries. And then the fucking idiot next to you is the dope that salts the fries. Dump the basket so I can salt the fries. Welsh News Now says 20 is 20. Yeah. And a fry basket operator is a fry basket operator. I don't give a fuck how much you're getting paid. You're operating the fucking fry basket.
If China wanted to fuck America, they could just call in that debt.
If China wanted to fuck America, they could call in the majority of American debt that they own, which is actually only 5%. If China wanted to fuck America, they could call in the debt. Now, Dan has put on display right here, right now, that he does not know how the U.S. securities market or the world security market works. If you own government debt, right, you more than likely own a 1-year, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year bond. You don't call Xi Jinping doesn't pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Biden, it's Muggsy over here in China. We're calling in your debt, you see." That's not how it fucking works. That they have to go to China has to, like anyone else, if you want to sell your debt, you have to go to the open market and sell it. So if China tried to dump all their 5% holdings of US debt in a single day, all they would do is create a supply and demand imbalance in the particular bond market, and then trading would be suspended to stabilize the price. If trading wasn't suspended and they went over a succession of days and just dumped whatever the market could bear into the market, they would only drive the price of those bonds down, which would be China shooting themselves in the foot, because they would cause the value of the bonds due to a supply and demand imbalance. They would cause the value of the bonds to go down, the bond to be devalued, because there were more bonds on the market than there were willing buyers. So China would fuck China, not America. If Americans were smart and said, "Hey, China's dumping all their debt," they would wait till the Chinese had an impact on lowering the value of the bonds, and they would go in and buy. It's a buyer's opportunity. If you're smart, you know what the fuck's going on. Dan is a dumb motherfucker. Dan doesn't know what's going on. You don't call up the fucking Treasury Department, Xi Jinping, and say, "We're selling all our bonds. It's Muggsy over here in China. Xi Jinping's dumping. What are we going to do?" Let the market take care of it. That's what you're going to do. You let the market take care of it. Zero effect on the U.S. economy. If China wanted to dump the 1.5 trillion in U.S. bonds they're holding in a day, it wouldn't hurt the fucking U.S. economy at all. In fact, it would create a hell of a buying opportunity for people who wanted to buy U.S. government bonds cheaper than yesterday's market price because of the supply and demand imbalance. If demand remains the same and supply increases, price goes down. That's what happens when you dump shit. Dan is a dumb motherfucker. Shuggy supposedly worked in the fucking industry. Do you hear Shuggy saying anything? Hello, Shuggy. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody ringing the bell. Shuggy, get off your fucking ass. Open the door and let him in. Oh, Shug. Shuggy should get Dan's balls out of his fucking mouth.
Yeah.
There's
the
Dope
American
Phil.
economy-
There's Dope Phil. Yeah.
Wanted to fuck America, they could just call in that debt.
Yeah.
There's Pope Phil, fucking Mr. Cocaine addict, snorting fucking rails and just yeah, and Dan. Dan is a dumb motherfucker. And the guy who just yahed Dan's dumb statement, Pope Phil, is an even dumber motherfucker. Dude, Pope Phil, seriously. Why are you kissing some fucking douchebag Welshman's ass when the rest of the UK does nothing but kick him in it?
And the American economy would go and tank. immediately.
Yeah.
But it would also tank their economy, so they don't want to do that.
Right.
No, it wouldn't tank either's economy, dipshit. It would cause the Chinese government to probably fucking lose money because they'd be selling their bonds cheap on the fucking market. That's why nobody does the dump thing, because the only person you fuck when you dump shit you hold is yourself by driving the value of what you hold down. Oh, Dan, stop collecting bogus money and eat those fucking dogs. You are definitely not getting your fucking right amount of nutrients a day. Your brain is broken, boy.
I'm not seeing, but
I'm not. I gotta isolate that. Fucking put it together with some statement that Shuggy's fucking Dan in the ass.
this makes no sense.
It's chilly.
Of course it makes no sense. You just said it. Nothing you said, Dan, made any fucking sense. Chili gave a hypothetical. You massaged the hypothetical. You made it say something different. And then you started acting like you were responding to something Chili never said. And everything you said about the Chinese dumping U.S. securities and ruining the U.S. economy is utter, total bullshit. You think it's true because you read Sav Sit shit. That's Sav Sit shit, Dan. That's Sav Sit shit. Oh, the U.S. could be fucked any day that China wants to sell all the debt because China owns all our debt and half our land. You were fucking dumb, Dan. Dumb. You didn't go to college. You didn't go to college. The only thing you're good at, Dan, is repeating phraseology like a parrot. You are no good at research, analytics, or the synthesization of data. You're no good at it. Hold on while I get some dead air going on. Let's all honor a moment of silence for the death of Dan's last remaining brain cell. Shuggy has fucked Dan into a coma. Please, people, do not get your world advice and your financial advice from a fucking doorman and an on-the-dole Welsh waterhead.
Is making sense a requirement?
I'm now confused as to which makes the least sense to me. All the stuff that's going on with shiz or this.
I'm equally
In
confused by
case
all
the
of it.
Chinese drop down with parachutes. Remember, China is the great big bad guy. China, remember? Okay, fine. Well, then the Americans need to each block by block by block get prepared for China in case China, with their billions of people.
Yeah, think that the planes are just going to be able to fly over uncontested and drop all these?
Now these knuckleheads are going to start speculating on whether fucking Red Dawn is fucking plausible. Laura Rader made a comment. Let me check this really quick. I think you are right. Laura Rader said, where's your comment? There you go. Well, on that chart, you're right. I did read my dates wrong. The dark blue is 2013. The pink is 2003. The light blue is January of 2023. So right now, Japan holds more debt than China does. My bad. Japan holds currently 1.8 trillion, and China right now holds less than $1 trillion in U.S. debt, 840 billion. what I was looking at something else too, and Japan and China were neck and neck on that also. So this is China's holdings are lower than Japan according to this chart, which I misread. I was looking at the January 2013, 23. All of these numbers are adjusted to 2020 valuation so that there's continuity in the charting. So all values are down here at the bottom. All values are adjusted to 2022 dollars to ensure compatibility over time. As a result, totals from January 2023 are lower than reported. So Japan is the largest holder of foreign debt, not China. And the UK is in third place. And the UK is only 200 billion behind China. Maybe Dan is behind a plot by the British government to ruin the US economy by buying up our debt and dumping it on the open market to destroy the US economy. Oh my God. Dan, you really need to get checked for syphilis. Your brain is fucked. The 5 countries owning the most U.S. debt are Japan, 1.1 trillion, China, 859 billion, the UK, 668 billion, Belgium, 331 billion, Luxembourg, 318 billion. Investors from Russia, China, and Indonesia had sharp drops in U.S. Treasury over the last several years due to sanctions and short-term capital needs, among other reasons. There was something else we talked about. We were talking about money supply one day, and I was talking how I avoid the banks altogether. And the reason I avoid the banks, there's 2 reasons. The banks don't pay. I can put my money to better use. Banks are literally a safe parking place for liquidity needs. I have a sock drawer in my dresser, and my liquidity is there. I don't need to gain the 1% interest on it that the bank is offering on a fucking passbook savings. Anything that was going to be actually invested, the money I put into a money market fund, and then from the money market fund, when I find a suitable intermediate term or long-term investment, I shift the money out of the money market fund. Another thing that Dan, Shuggy, and all the fucking dopes at the Welsh News Network don't understand either is money supply is broken up into 2 categories, M1 and M2. M1 is cash, dollar bills, coins, checking accounts. M2 includes certificates of deposits and savings accounts. Checking accounts are included in the M1 money supply because a check is on demand. It's a cash equivalent. So M1 and M2 are distinct. They're well defined. M2 has only shrunk, the M2 money number has only shrunk 4 times in U.S. history, and it has shrunk recently over the last year to 2 years, and it has always significantly impacted the economy. And each of the 4 times it's happened, the economy has experienced double-digit inflation numbers. So past performance is not indicative of future happenings, but you can find reliability in trends. We do currently, you should brace yourself for rising unemployment, because we do have a shrink in the M2 money supply, and that has historically always led to an economic downturn, which resulted in double-digit unemployment numbers. And now let's get back to Dill Dan.
Apparently,
Yes,
then-
yes, he does believe that.
And they're going to be able to keep resupplied.
Here's Anthony Caruso right here in the side chat. Mr. Caruso, whose comment went completely ignored by the panel members at the WNN. You got to super chat that shit, Anthony, if you want it read out. Anthony Caruso says, in terms of the government deficit, I'm not sure that is entirely right. I think China owns about 5 to 10% of the debt, 5%, less than 5. You got to double your fucking margin because even you know you're fucking dumb. 5 to 10% of the debt directly. The rest is through government bonds. What the fuck? Holy shit, man. China owns 5 to 10% of the debt directly. What does that mean, Caruso? What does that mean? Owns the debt directly. The rest is through government bonds. The only way you have debt to the U.S. government is if you buy a fucking bond. That's the only way you owe the U.S. government, unless you're a U.S. citizen and you owe taxes. What do you mean owns the debt directly? The rest is bonds. It's all fucking bonds, you fucking... Wow, these guys just drone on and on about shit they know nothing about. The Welsh News Network may be the fucking dumbest audience on YouTube. Patrick Gallagher says, damn, leaving because I'm here, Miss Mandy. Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, if you start fucking acting like a douche, I'm just going to fucking block you. Because, you know, to be honest, you're kind of a dickhead. She clearly said she had to go, Miss Mandy had to go get some work done. And then you have to do, that's not me. Are you leaving because of me? It's a sock account. So, well, stop acting like a fucking stalker, you douche. Patrick gave a rose to Miss Mandy. You're a weird fucking guy, Patrick. She's married, you idiot. GMK, one day I will troll coded into posting pics of the Luxembourg Prime Minister in his super dashing velvet suits. Codedfriend.001@gmail.com, Laura. Just send the photos. You don't have to troll me. Just ask nice. I'll put them up. Delete Fun says Dan deals with MI6 and FBI in his fucking dreams. Laura Rader says Shuggy deals with MI6 and MI5, but Dan is the FBI guy. Delete Funds. Shuggy, I think Shuggy watches television and he believes he's in the show. I think Shuggy has a fucking brain problem. Patrick Gallagher, damn, leaving because I'm here, Miss Mandy. She clearly said she had work to do, dipshit. Don't make it all about you. That's very stalkerish. Laura Rader says, Patrick, now I do think you are the gay Luxembourg PM. Patrick says it's a sock account. So Patrick's sock account is the gay Luxembourg Prime Minister? Good job, Patrick, you fucking weirdo. Laura Rader says, oh, stop flirting with me via your butt typing, GMK. I like those sort of love bombs. Love bomb, love bomb. Laura Rader says, I did actual contract work for GCHQ, but I don't have current contacts there to inquire about British intelligence fakes, LOL. Don't you have a friend of a friend? Come on, let's get this Shuggy. Let's expose Shuggy the way Shuggy deserves. Let's expose Shuggy like Wrangler. Because every day that goes by and the more I see the fucking double standard of no need for Shuggy to show any proof, no need for Dan to show any proof while Shuggy plays K-Far to Dan and, you know, Stone Vet pummels the shit out of, and rightly so, they deserve it. fraud at Wrangler, KFAR, weapons, whatever the fuck that guy, all the fucking associates of Wrangler are getting the shit beaten out of them by Stoned Vet, Wally, Master Sergeant retired, but Shuggy gets a fucking pass, and Dan, my buddy's brains got blown all over my uniform, gets a fucking pass, and Shuggy plays KFAR to Dan, and Shuggy gets a pass. Jesus Christ! Somebody buy me a challenge lighter and stick a challenge coin and stick a lighter up your ass for a fucking week, and then tell me the lighter sailed all around the world, and I'll give you carte blanche to fucking talk shit here. That's because it seems to be what it is. Buy me a gift and you can fucking say whatever you want. Fucking Dan throws 100-pound fucking super chat at Demon, and Demon develops amnesia that he had proof that Dan got Limey's fucking benefits suspended. It's amazing how quickly this shit goes on.
Some way when they're got an ocean between them and their.
Yes, he does believe that.
Oh, hold on a sec.
Oh,
We're going to hear some real battle wisdom from the
wouldn't
battle
He does
worn
believe-
soldier
He does.
boys.
apparently.
Yes,
then-
yes, he does believe that.
And they're going to be able to keep resupplied some way when they're got an ocean between them and their.
Yes, he does believe that.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't like to try and fight a war across an entire ocean.
Dan wouldn't want to fight a war against an entire across an entire ocean. Dan, is that because you tried to fight the Americans, the colonists, and across an ocean, and they kicked the shit out of you? Is that the reason, or is it that little tiny island, the Falklands, that was not only across an ocean but way, way down fucking south in the ocean, and you got your asses handed to you there too? I can understand why a little fucking island nation like yours, Dan, wouldn't want to fight a fucking country across an ocean. We get it. But you you Brits are supposed to be the naval power, right? You're supposed to have the naval prowess. You can't even, the Chinese are ahead of you, Dan. Of course you wouldn't want to fight a fucking war across an ocean. You're fucking British. We're Americans. Every war we've ever fought, except for the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, was across a fucking ocean. Pretty much all of them. In fact, we decimated during the Spanish-American War, we decimated the Spanish fleet so badly, we sailed around the world and took all their fucking shit in Southeast Asia. Of course you wouldn't want to, Dan, because you don't know how a navy functions. Liar. And because your shitty little Britain got its ass kicked all over the world, fighting wars across oceans.
Yeah, neither would I.
Gee, kind of like we island hopped to take care of Japan. We didn't go
Yeah.
straight to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's too easy for a submarine to fuck up your supply lines.
It's too easy for a submarine to fuck up your supply lines. What was your excuse in the Revolutionary War? We didn't have submarines yet. We didn't have them till the Civil War. What was your excuse in the Falklands? The Brits were the ones with the fucking submarines. I don't think the Argentinians had a fucking submarine in their navy at that time. Jesus Christ, Dan. You know, not only are you a dumb motherfucker, but you don't know much about history either.
Yeah.
Decide to start raining down Chinamen to attack us. World War III. So it only makes sense that
Raining down Chinamen to attack us. That sounds kind of racist. You can just say Chinese, Chili. You don't have to say fucking Chinamen. Patrick Gallagher, the dark gray P, says Codage Chat has the best looking women. Patrick Gallagher, the light gray P, says I'm the real me. I think this is like an episode of Star Trek from the late 60s. Laura Rader says, I don't know about that, fake Patrick, but we are deaf critical thinkers with working brains, LOL. Patrick Gallagher, I think both of your accounts are sock accounts.
that
That's
each and
his
every block
version
in
of World
America
War
create its
III.
own mini militia.
Wait, that is literally Red Dawn.
Dan is now equating what Chili's saying with the movie Red Dawn. It's too bad that Pope Phil had already said this 30 minutes ago, and Dan wrote it down, set it aside so he could re-say it again a half an hour later, as though it were his own idea. Wow, that's some fucking shady shit, Danny boy. Adam McGuire says Dan and Shuggy are two old men who take turns giving challenge coins to each other over who could hold the most dick in themselves. Adam McGuire scratches his head and says, was it dick or semen? I'm going to go with semen. And I hear Shuggy can hold a lot in his mouth. Alan Killian says the Argentine Navy had a DE boat that did sink a British destroyer. They skipped a missile off the top of the water, right, to sink the British destroyer. I remember reading a article at the time in Science Digest, I think it was, that gave a detailed explanation how they did it, because they brought the missile in skipping on the water under the ship's actual radar. Patrick Gallagher says, you guys going to check out Wranglers live today? Probably not, man.
Replace Russia
Well,
with China. Replace North Korea with China. It's fucking
Yeah.
Red Dawn.
Replace North Korea with China. It's fucking Red Dawn. Yeah, no shit. Phil said it. Phil, yeah. And you, Phil, said it a half an hour ago.
Well, it's and it sounds like he's going with the new version that's not plausible whatsoever.
The new version that's not plausible whatsoever. The original version, when it was Russians instead of North Koreans, that was plausible. The fuck is wrong with you guys? Everything these guys fucking talk about comes from a goddamn movie.
What the fuck?
With an organized group. Every 4 blocks have one commander. Every 8 blocks have a commander. And so we start to form a real militia in America, so that if we are attacked by the Chinese, we have a group of people who are trained and
You
work
mean
together.
like the National Guard and the Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, like those people? Question mark.
And doesn't pretty much everyone agree that militias are bad and have absolutely no combat value whatsoever, other than as cannon fodder?
Yeah.
Militias have no value other than cannon fodder. Well, you'd like to think that. It's our militia, the Minutemen, that fucked up your douchebag redcoats, Dan. Dan is a dick-smoking twink boy who lies about everything. I do believe the Falklands are still held by the imperialistic world attempt to world hungry to dominate the world British. They're such shitty fucking people, the British. All of them, every last fucking one of them. Shitty fucking people. You all live on a little tiny fucking island. You're not. You got wee man's. You got wee country disease. You know how there's wee man's disease where little guys try to act like they're all fucking big and tough? Britain literally has wee country disease. Wee tiny little fucking island. So you got to go around. We're the greatest in the fucking world. Jesus Christ, you can't even hold a candle to fucking China. Dickheads. Adam McGuire says, well, there were lots of challenge coins given out, Laura. Laura Rader says, LOL. The British Navy sent their Navy to take back the Falklands, and it only took them 3 weeks to arrive. You, yes, you, laddie. Stand still, would you? Maybe Shuggy got his challenge coin in the Falklands from an Argentine soldier that he was stranded on an island with, and there were only the two of them and a lot of sheep. Shuggy wound up winning the challenge coin. Winternet says, you would think that someone who claims to be religious and quotes the Bible regularly would not use GD as an exclamation. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? The scripture says not to take the Lord's name in vain. God isn't I don't know why you put capital G, capital D. I hope that you're aware, Winternet, that God is not a personal, it's not the name of an individual entity. God is a classification. God would be the equivalent of human. It's not a name of a person. It's the name of the classification. God is divinity. God is the modern way of saying divinity. It's not a proper name. It's a classification name. Like primate, like human, like canine. Duh. 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 Final Boy says, hey, Patrick Gallagher, is Final Girl going to be in Wranglers Live? Who the fuck are these people? Winternet says, or JC. Why? Are you now going to come in with your prohibitive speech nonsense? You should read, is it James, the epistle from James? I get the feeling you haven't read the Bible. Didn't the Apostle Paul call a high priest a whitewashed tomb? It says not to use the Lord's name in vain. Vain would be to use it uselessly. Vanity is uselessness. God, you guys just don't fucking, your religiosity, you don't understand anything. I, my friend, am under the perfect law of freedom. I'm asked not to use my freedom as a cloak for sinful behavior. Also, once you believe, you are a believer. You touch a hot stove and get burned. You're never going to unbelieve that a hot stove isn't going to burn you. Once you believe, you're saved. You may, if you repetitively sin after you believe that Christ is Lord and Savior, who died for your sins, if you continue to repetitively sin after that, the Holy Spirit will remove his hedge of protection. You will be turned over to Satan for the destruction of your flesh, that your soul may be saved in the day the Lord returns. You should read your scripture there, stupid. Patrick Gallagher says, Final Boy, she should be there. Hope to see you there. The fucking Wrangler people. Alan Killian says, you're right. They had a World War II German. They had 4 World War II German boats that were armed with defective torpedoes. It was an air-launched French anti-ship missile. So the Falklands sank a British destroyer using World War II German technology and French technology. Oh my God. Maybe we should encourage the Brits to become allies with China. Elric Melnabone says God means good and sometimes good die. God is a classification that indicates divinity. Winternet says there is only one God. You're right. There is only one classification of divinity. In that classification exists 3 distinct personas. Go to Genesis 18:1, I believe it is. The scripture itself says, the Jehovah in heaven rained down fire at the command of the Jehovah on earth. There is Father, there is Son, there is Holy Spirit. 3 distinct personalities, one God. John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was face to face with God, in total agreement. All through Scripture. It's all through Scripture. That's why I know you guys have never read the book and you're just sitting there blah, blah, blahing about churchiosity or some religio nonsense you heard as a fucking child in CCD class. Boy, that Catholic Church really doesn't do a good fucking job educating people on what's written in the Bible. They'll educate you about what their traditions are, but they don't give a shit if you really know or understand what's in the Bible. And then at the end, they'll tell you that the Pope is an alternate version of Jesus and that he holds the same authority Jesus does. And if you refuse to believe that, you cannot be a Catholic. That's why the Catholic Church stopped telling you about the doctrine of alter Christos. GMK says, GMK is still like Merb says, my sister, a very religious Jew, spells it GD. That is the cult of sacred name. That's the cult of sacred name. G-D. That's this. You couldn't come up with a better example of ignorance. Why do you leave the vowel out of the word God? Because the Jews developed a tradition to remove the vowels. That's where Yahweh comes from. The vowels were reinserted by a German monk in the medieval period. No one knows if the vowels in Yahweh or Jehovah are right. It's speculated that that's what they would be. There's this idea in sacred name cult that if you know the name of God, the actual name of God, you can speak that name out loud and God will have to do whatever you tell him to do. That you can actually make God your servant by speaking his actual name. It's the same thing is done in this demonic possession exorcism horse shit, where the person doing the exorcism is constantly asking for the name of the demon so that they can gain control over it. The only time in the scripture that a demon's name was asked for, the demon didn't give its name. It said legion, we are many. That's not an actual name. It was an indicator that there were multiple demons possessing this man's body. Jesus never knew the name, and he cast all of the demons. He never knew their names. He cast them all out into the fucking pigs without saying any of their names. That's all cult of sacred name bullshit. Again, highly indicative of an individual who may be devoutly something but doesn't know what the book actually says. Laura Rader writes in my Trapper Keeper, seems Winternet doesn't buy the Holy Trinity theory. Well, if you read if he doesn't believe the Trinity, then that there are 3 persons classified as divine, that there is no variation, there's no differentiation between the 3 other than they are 3 distinct persons. You can blaspheme the Father, it will be forgiven if you ask for forgiveness. You can blaspheme Jesus, it will be forgiven if you ask for forgiveness. If you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, there is no forgiveness. That's the lesson Jesus taught. When the scribes and Pharisees said that Jesus casts out demons by the power of Beelzebul, which is a name for the devil, that Jesus said, don't do that. You won't be forgiven for that. He equated the Holy Spirit with Satan, evil. It's blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. It's not a really good thing to be doing. If you're a believer, it's impossible to blaspheme the Holy Spirit. Winternet says you can say whatever you like. I'm not the one who will be judging you. Absolutely, you're not. You're not capable of judgment. A mature Christian is capable of judgment. Now, I don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in, Winternet. That's the province of Jesus. That's his responsibility. But I can, and I'm instructed to, and I'm required to judge your fruit. And you don't seem to know much about what you're talking about. Laura Rader says, I already read that. Sorry. Hello, baby says, okay, I'm doing some yoga here, listening. Nice. Katie D says, Winternet, same here. Say what you want. I will not be the one judging you, but it's really boring. That's actually a judgment. You judged his sayings as boring. I mean, if you read, go to Corinthians, Winternet. Go to Corinthians. Paul says to there was a younger man who was sleeping with his father's wife. Now, we don't know if the father was deceased, but this is prohibitive. This is the whole sexual perversion thing. The Apostle Paul says, you're writing to me. I'm not there. I've already judged this on reading what was in the letter. Why haven't you judged it yet? Do you not know that you will judge angels? How much more the things of this world? And then Paul told them to take the two individuals, the boy who was the young man who was sexually involved with his father's wife, and to excommunicate them from the assembly, lest this behavior be seen as acceptable. I mean, you wonder why I pointed out the perversion thing at Welsh News Network, and then, I mean, nobody seems to pay attention to much of anything they fucking say, and meanwhile, their audience is getting lied to, robbed, and ripped off on a daily basis. No one fucking cares. But Kaiser's the bad guy. Shuggy, good guy. Kaiser, bad guy. Kafar, bad guy, because he was a backer of Kaiser, but Shuggy, okay, even though Shuggy himself is stolen valor, he never fucking proved anything. And Dan, without a doubt, is fucking stolen valor. GMK, I still like Merb, says J Lo says the Falklands belong to the Bronx. Really? She's a crazy person. AP says that eclipse was badass. Jam and Jet says AP, good to see you. AP says completely dark like night at 3:20. It was heavily shaded. That would have been so cool to see. AP says, hey to Jam and Jet. Jam and Jet says, my mom was a Jewish and became a born-again Christian, fulfilled Jew. Okay. That's cool. You just got to steer away from that. Like your sister putting the dash and eliminating the vowel is indicative that they're aware of and being influenced by the cult of sacred name. It doesn't matter what God's name is. Logan Sandman says, is that like Superman tricking Mr. Mixelplex into saying his name backward to force him back to the imp realm? That's kind of what that is exactly what they were playing off when they came up with the Mr. Mixelplex. He's fifth dimension, I believe, in the common books. Alan Killian says 4 U-boats, 2 broken down, 1 in dry dock, 1 with broke-ass torpedoes. French Exocet worked that triggered the British long-range bombing raid, the longest mileage raid at the time. Winternet says, consider removing those exclamations from your repertoire, not for me or any other person, but for yourself. All of the Christian truth you speak are tainted when surrounded by blasphemy. It's not blasphemy, you dumb fuck. That's not blasphemy. That's not blasphemy. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to a different audience than you. You, my friend, I'm going to hold that back because I don't know enough about you. You come in here one time and you want to tell me how to talk. Seems kind of weird. I am under a perfect law of liberty. I may do as I please. Winternet says, I'm just asking you to consider it. I'm not coming at you with the hatred you're returning to me. I'm not returning hatred to you. I'm pointing out that you're involved in religiosity and you're trying to force your religio concerns onto me. Who did you feed today that was hungry? That's all I want to know, Winternet. Show me some proof. Show me proof. Here's what you need to do if you want to have influence over me. You need to prove that you're doing the first love, which is to talk about Christ and Christ crucified. Okay? If you're doing that, which I've never seen you do, if you're doing that, then I will take stock in you as a Christian and I will begin to monitor your works. Are you visiting the widow in her affliction? Are you visiting the orphan in their affliction? Are you keeping yourself unstained by the world? What did the Apostle Paul say? To the weak, I became weak. To the strong, I became strong. To the Jew, I became a Jew. To the Gentile, I became a Gentile. That those may also be saved. If I got to come into this arena and speak harshly to get people to pay attention to me in the beginning, then that's what I'm going to do. Elric Melnabone says that Winternet blasphemy, the horror. It's not a blasphemy. I don't think you know what blasphemy is. Adam McGuire says, is Shuggy here? I'm begging. Hey, blah, fuck you, me, blah, Shuggy. Oh, those little perverts over there. Shuggy, open the door, bud. Open the door. Come on. Be ready, bro. Be ready. GMK, I still like Merb says that Jam and Jet, that makes you Jewish. Shalom. That doesn't make you Jewish. It doesn't make you Jewish. Adam McGuire says, coded just single way. I will give you a challenge coin. Oh, I'm getting a challenge coin from Alan McGuire. Winternet said, I fed the widows and the orphans. Who did you feed? You fed all of them? Really? You fed all of them? Yesterday I purchased 75 5-kilo bags of rice and we'll be handing them out in my community today. So my feeding will go on for a couple days and then we'll do it again. I do it on a regular basis. Not to blow my own horn, but to I'm going to show the receipts and show the work because it's the work you have to look for. It's the works that we're not judging the person. We're judging the works of the person, right? So ye shall know them by their fruits. Fruits are the works. Does a thistle put out figs? No. Laura Rader says, LOL, Adam. I'm distracted with work myself, but you're still making me giggle when I do peek in. Adam had apologized for being a little behind. That's all right. Laura Rader says, Winternet, does feeding widows and orphans in the Philippines not count for you? Seems a little bigoted to me, right? And you might be another one of those people that, you got to help all the white people before you can help anyone else. Stupid motherfucking white men. I've met some really stupid white men in my time. Like Dan, who think they're superior to everything, but if you left them in the woods for a fucking week, they'd come out 30 pounds lighter and dehydrated.
But here's what I'm envisioning, right? All of the rich folk in the gated community, do you think they're going to get together for training as a militia?
Why? Why wouldn't the rich folk? Did none of the rich folk participate in the in the Revolutionary War to throw off England? George Washington wasn't a wealthy man. Thomas Jefferson wasn't a wealthy man. Adams, these weren't wealthy men. What the fuck? George Washington owned a fucking major plantation. Jefferson too. As far as wealth goes, Washington and Jefferson would make Pope Phil look like a fucking idiot. And they fought. Washington was the fucking lead guy in the fight. Wow, you're fucking dumb. My God, you're fucking dumb. These are Americans that don't know American history. How fucking dumb are they? Holy shit. All right, I gotta go. We'll pick up a little of this during the when I pick up the demon thing, because if we go back to like the right around the 1 hour mark, where is it here? Or Dilly Dance. There we go. This is the episode where Dan went over his communications with Irish Demon.
Because my pain is prevented.
Or with Limey, because Irish Demon and Shiz were doing a live about what a shitty person Dan is. All right, there will be no outro tune today. It will just be a quick out. I didn't have time to prep that stuff. I just wanted to get in here, make sure I had some contact with my audience. You guys knew I hadn't disappeared. I'm very happy that you guys showed up to be with me today. 22 listeners currently. Laura Rader says, LOL, funny that the Welshman hangs on so tightly to the British Empire superiority when the English barely consider the Welsh true Brits. Well, they do step on the Welsh to get to objects they can't reach while standing on the ground. Laura Rader says, later coded, don't forget us. I won't forget you. Winternet, Adam McGuire says, Winternet is really acting gay again. Let Winternet be Winternet. We'll work as we go. Winternet, Laura said that. We read that already. KDD says, Laura Rader, I don't think Dan really likes the UK. He seems bitter as to what Wales doesn't have. That's why he hates America, too. Dan hates America because he wants to be an American and he can't come back to America because, as he said during the debate with Turtle Boy, Dan knows what American child services documents look like. Why is that? Because Dan was involved with a fucking issue with a underage child. That's why Dan knows. That's why Dan can't come back to America, because Dan is on a registered list. Laura Rader says, perpetual victimhood and whining syndrome, KDD, LOL. Dan will never be happy no matter what, and I think he hates the whole world. I agree with that, Laura. Scott Amos says, take it easy, coded. See the rest of y'all around the places. Logan said something funny, I think. At Laura Rader, Dan hangs on to British Empire superiority, and he can barely speak English. He sure as shit can't read it. We'll get into that the next time I'm around. Eric Melnabone says, the English laugh at the Welsh, just like the city folk in the U.S. laugh at anyone from the swamps of Louisiana. Yeah, but Cajuns are French people that were moved down to Louisiana after the French lost the military incursion with the British, and the British shipped the French Acadians down the Mississippi River to Louisiana, where the French had territory, and that's how they become the Cajuns. Laura Rader says, Cajun scum, LOL. I don't actually think that, GMK. I like the Cajun peoples. Them motherfuckers can cook, man. And they're a fun fucking bunch of people to hang around with. Not a fan of the French, but I do like the Cajuns. Shuggy says, go park a fucking car. Hey, Shuggy, open that goddamn door. Shuggy, you a little fucking liar. Ball homie. Cocksucking Shuggy. Hey, Shuggy, I know you lurk every episode. Why don't you come up on panel one time and we'll talk about how you are unwilling to prove you did any military service. Why are you always coming in when I announce that I'm about to go? Why do I always at tag you and know you're in the room? I'll park a fucking car, Shuggy. I'll park cars all day. You know why, Shuggy? Because I know how to make money doing that. I know how to make money when I do it. I know how to make money when I have people do it for me. Shug, I'm not like you, man. I don't mind doing work. I'll shovel dirt. I'll shovel concrete. I'll shovel stone. I'll swing a hammer. I'll stick frame a house. I'll run plumbing. I've done all these things. I'll park fucking cars. I'll figure out how to structure a parking lot to maximize income. I do it, and I do it very well, Shug. You're a fucking doorman at a mid-tier. You're trapped as a doorman at a mid-tier hotel. It's a job that a family member gave to you because they felt sorry for you after you had to leave all your possessions and wealth behind in the U.S. and flee quickly because you did a little too much touchy-touchy in the tenty-tenty with children. Fuck you, Shuggy. Prove you were in the fucking military or shut your fucking mouth about Kaiser and everyone else until you do so. You little fucking lying weasel. You're a douche, Shuggy. Let me read your comment again. Go park a fucking car. You think that bothers me, Shuggy? It don't bother me at all. You know why? Because I got a sock drawer with $10,000 in it. And I got a bank account, or not a bank account, a brokerage account full of fucking stocks and bonds. What do you have, Shuggy? You have the opportunity to open a door for check change on a daily basis. That's all you have. Shuggy, you're so broke, you don't even have proof that you were in the military. You're so broke, you don't even have proof that you were in the military. Now, Shuggy, why would the United Kingdom make it impossible for its servicemen to prove that they were servicemen? Why don't you stick another lighter up your ass, Shuggy, and carry it around for a year, and then you can send it to Master Sergeant Retired, or to Wally, or to Dirty Hippie, or to whoever you want to fool into thinking you were in the fucking military. Because, Shuggy, you just a piece of shit fuck. You were never in the military, and neither was Dan. You just tell stories. You just tell stories. You can't even stay awake to pay attention to what Dan's saying. You were involved in the fucking guilt market, Shuggy, but you don't know shit about government debt, and you sat there and let Dan prattle on. You let your buddy prattle on like a fucking idiot, exposing his ignorance for the world to fucking see. And dumb fuck Anthony Caruso in the side chat had to check Dan and correct him. Because Shuggy, you were involved in the fucking investment industry, but you don't seem to know anything about investments. Hey, Shug, how come you and Dan don't agree on the locations of buildings on the Dartmouth campus? One of you was never there. That's why. You heard Stoned Vet say it last night, Shuggy. Your association with that Welsh fucking waterhead makes you look like shit. Laura Rader says, Shuggy, do not wait until we are ending next time. Do not be so scared. Shuggy's shaking in his fucking boots because Shuggy's going to get exposed. Laura Rader says, at Shuggy, I would come talk to you at WN, but it seems I may be blocked there. Could you fix that for me? They don't want you talking over there. Alan Killian says Shuggy would be as good with a hammer as Chili. You know what Shuggy's good at? Telling other people's stories. That's all Shuggy's good at. KDD says that Shuggy, why do you take the abuse from WNN's panel? I don't know if people are noticing it, but over at the WNN, Shuggy, shouldn't you be at work right now? And why, when I was going through Shuggy, you could answer this one for me. Because Dan doesn't have a fucking job, Shuggy. He's a fucking liar. Why, when he was going back and forth in these messages that are up on the screen right now with Limey, why did Dan say, quote, yeah, we sleep all afternoon. It sucks to be on U.S. time? I thought Dan had a job. How could Dan have a job in Wales or in the UK if he sleeps all afternoon? Shug, you're all fucking liars. And the more you talk, the easier it is to see it. So, Shug, I'll park a car. I'm going to go work. I'm going to go, Shug, tonight. I'm going to go work a fucking lot. That was the account of my guy who was going back to Serbia. He was either clipping money or he was just phoning it in and not doing the fucking work, because I ran 6 hours. I ran, dude, 57 years old, up and down, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, up and down, $550 in 6 hours, Shug. How much do you make opening doors, bud? How much do you make opening doors? And because I picked up that extra shift last Monday, Shug, and made that $500, I had money to buy rice to feed the people who are in need in my home barangay in the Philippines. Huh, Shug? Why are you so far behind in the fucking game? Shug, you can't even take care of yourself. You rely on your wife's paycheck. God put, I don't care what it is, Shug. I don't care what it is. I'll cut down trees, trim hedges, blow shit up, fucking swing a hammer, pound nails, pour concrete, dig in the dirt, work out financial investments, watch dopes like you fucking clowns fleece people. It doesn't matter. God just continues to put these opportunities in front of me where I make a fucking ton of money in a single day. And then I take that money and I help people who are less fortunate with me with the windfall shit. And the next windfall God sends to me is bigger than the fucking last one. So literally, when these windfall opportunities happen, Shuggy, I'm not like, I'm going to go buy myself a new suit. I'm going to go get them fucking $300 sneakers I wanted. No, my thought is always lately, all right, I can buy food now. I give 90% on those windfall amounts. I keep 10% for myself. And my accounts are over fucking flowing, Shuggy. What's going on in your life that you're struggling as a liar to make ends fucking meet?